The man trudged through the vast expanse of the cornfield, convinced he would find nothing more than the usual signs of wind's play. Yet, as he approached the newly formed pattern etched into the earth, a chill ran down his spine, igniting an instinctual dread he couldn't shake. It was as if the very air around him had thickened, muting the distant sounds of the world, leaving only an oppressive silence that felt almost sentient. Suddenly, the hairs on the back of his neck stood on end, and he sensed an unseen gaze fixed upon him, watching, studying. The formation before him pulsed with an energy he couldn't explain, a whisper of something otherworldly that sent vibrations through the ground beneath his feet, making the soil tremble in fear. In that moment, he realized this was no ordinary phenomenon. It was a calling from the unknown, a revelation waiting to unfold. As he stood frozen, the weight of unseen eyes bore down on him, and the question echoed in his mind. What had he stumbled upon, and who or what was truly observing him? The answers lurked just beyond comprehension, teasing the edge of his reality, inviting him deeper into the mystery that had begun to unravel in the heart of the field. The man trudged through the vast expanse of the cornfield, convinced he would find nothing more than the usual signs of wind's play. Yet as he approached the newly formed pattern etched into the earth, a chill ran down his spine, igniting an instinctual dread he couldn't shake. It was as if the very air around him had thickened, muting the distant sounds of the world, leaving only an oppressive silence that felt almost sentient. In the early hours of dawn, the sky was still cloaked in a blanket of deep indigo, the last remnants of night clinging to the horizon. The corn, standing tall and proud, swayed gently in the breeze, its rustling whisper resembling a secret conversation that only nature could understand. But this morning, there was something different about the field. The usual cadence of life, chirping crickets, rustling leaves, the distant call of a lone bird, had been replaced by an eerie stillness that hung in the air like a thick fog, pressing against his chest, making him acutely aware of his surroundings. It was in this heavy silence that he felt it, the unmistakable sensation of being watched. The hairs on the back of his neck prickled, sending a shiver down his spine that felt like the brush of a cold finger against his skin. He paused, the weight of unseen eyes bearing down upon him, and his heart raced as he scanned the field, searching for any sign of life. But there was nothing, only the rows of corn standing sentinel, their green blades glistening with morning dew, shimmering like emeralds under the dim light of dawn. As he moved closer to the formation, the ground beneath his feet vibrated subtly, a low hum that resonated in his bones. It was a sound that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself, an ancient song echoing through time. He felt an inexplicable connection to the land, as if it were alive and breathing, pulsating with energy that transcended the mundane. The pattern before him, a geometric shape so precise it appeared to have been etched by an unseen hand, drew him in with a magnetic pull. The lines were sharp, the angles immaculate, mathematical perfection amidst the chaos of the natural world. Yet, it was not merely the formation's beauty that captivated him. It was the sense of intelligence that seemed to linger in the air, a whisper of something otherworldly that sent vibrations through the ground beneath his feet, making the soil tremble in fear. The formation pulsed with an energy he couldn't explain, and the longer he stood there, the more he felt an overwhelming urge to understand its purpose, its meaning. It was as if the earth itself was beckoning him closer, inviting him to unravel the mystery that lay before him. In that moment, he realized this was no ordinary phenomenon. It was a calling from the unknown, a revelation waiting to unfold. The lines of the formation seemed to shimmer, not just in the light of the dawn, but with a light of their own, a subtle glow that flickered at the edges, hinting at something beyond the physical realm. He took a cautious step forward, drawn by a force he could neither resist nor comprehend, and the ground beneath him seemed to respond, vibrating with a low, resonant frequency that matched the pounding of his heart. With every step, the oppressive silence deepened, wrapping around him like a thick fog, isolating him from the world beyond the field. The scent of the earth was rich and metallic, mingling with the crispness of the morning air, creating an intoxicating aroma that filled his senses. It was both familiar and foreign, a reminder of life and death intertwined, of the mysteries that lay buried beneath the surface. As he stood frozen, the weight of unseen eyes bore down on him, and the question echoed in his mind. What had he stumbled upon, and who or what was truly observing him? The answers lurked just beyond comprehension, teasing the edge of his reality, inviting him deeper into the mystery that had begun to unravel in the heart of the field. Suddenly, he heard it. A low, pulsating sound that seemed to resonate from the very ground itself, a rhythm that matched the quickening of his pulse. It was not something he could identify, but it was undeniably there, alive and breathing, as if the earth were exhaling a secret meant only for him. With each passing moment, the sense of urgency grew, a silent scream urging him to uncover the truth. In that oppressive silence, he felt a strange compulsion to reach out, to touch the formation that lay before him. The very idea sent a thrill of fear coursing through him, but the pull was undeniable. It was as if the formation held the key to understanding something larger than himself, something cosmic and profound. He fought against the instinct to turn and run, instead inching closer, driven by a mix of dread and curiosity that twisted in his gut. He could hear the distant rustle of the corn, a soft whisper that seemed to carry with it the weight of countless generations, of farmers who had tended to this land long before him. Yet now, it felt as if the land itself was alive with stories untold, and he was but a momentary witness to a phenomenon that defied explanation. The shadows of the cornstalks danced in the dim light, elongating and shifting as if to obscure the truth hidden within the formation. And then, in a moment that felt suspended in time, he stepped into the heart of the geometric pattern. The air around him thickened, a palpable energy crackling in the atmosphere, as if the very fabric of reality had been altered. The vibrations intensified, resonating through him, amplifying the sensation of being observed. It was as if the formation had awakened, responding to his presence, and he felt a powerful connection that transcended the physical realm. A flash of light flickered at the periphery of his vision, and he turned instinctively, but there was nothing there. Only the rows of corn standing still, unwavering in the face of mystery. The chill in the air deepened, and he felt a breath of wind sweep through the field, carrying with it the echo of a voice that whispered from beyond, urging him to delve deeper into the unknown. In that moment of profound uncertainty, he realized he had crossed a threshold. The fear that had once gripped him now transformed into a fierce curiosity, igniting a flame of determination within. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he had to confront it, to unravel the threads of this cosmic tapestry woven into the fabric of the fields. For in the heart of that formation something extraordinary awaited, something that looked back at him, challenging him to discover the truth hidden in the shadows. The cold dawn air wrapped around him like a shroud, its chill intensifying the sensations that danced just at the edge of his consciousness. The cornfield stretched out in every direction, a vast expanse of darkness broken only by the pale light of the moon, which hung heavy in the sky like a watchful eye. Each stalk, rigid and tall, seemed to sway subtly, whispering secrets to one another as if they were guardians of this sacred ground. And yet, despite their stillness, an undercurrent of energy pulsed through the field, a vibration that resonated deep within his bones, a signal that something profound was unfolding just beneath the surface. As he stood in the center of the geometric formation, the air thickened, swirling with an almost electric tension that sent shivers down his spine. The ground beneath him felt alive, thrumming with an intensity that matched the rapid beat of his heart. It was as if the earth itself was breathing, urging him to engage with the unknown that lay ahead. Every instinct screamed for him to flee, but a deeper primal urge held him fast. A need to understand, to grasp the elusive threads of reality that intertwined here. The sounds around him shifted, becoming more pronounced. The wind picked up, howling through the rows of corn, creating a chorus of whispers that seemed to blend into a language he could almost comprehend. It swirled around him, teasing at the edges of his understanding, carrying with it an essence of something ancient, something otherworldly. He could hear the echoes of long-forgotten voices, their tones a mixture of fear and reverence, like prayers offered in the dead of night. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the air, a sound unlike anything he had encountered before. It reverberated through the field, sending a jolt of adrenaline coursing through him. He turned toward the source, heart racing, but found only the endless sea of corn, standing sentinel in the dim light. The noise had been a reminder of the potency of the unknown, a beckoning from the cosmos itself, urging him to delve deeper into the mystery that enveloped him like a fog. As he moved cautiously through the geometric pattern, the air around him shimmered with an inexplicable energy. The shapes that surrounded him, perfect circles and intricate spirals, seemed to pulse in response to his presence. Each geometric form was etched into the earth with a precision that defied human understanding. The plants bent in ways that suggested intelligence behind their manipulation. He knelt down, fingers brushing against the cool soil, feeling the gentle hum of life just beneath the surface, as if the earth was alive with secrets begging to be unearthed. With every breath, he felt the atmosphere shift, a weight pressing down on him, thick and oppressive, yet charged with potential. The scent of damp earth mingled with something metallic, a tang that made his senses heighten. He could almost taste the electricity in the air, a flavor that hinted at the extraordinary. The fabric of reality seemed to waver, the lines between the known and the unknown blurring into a tapestry of possibility. And then, in a moment that felt almost cosmic, the world around him fell silent. The wind stilled, the rustling of the corn ceased, and he was enveloped in a profound stillness that echoed through the very marrow of his being. It was a silence so deep that it became deafening, a void that screamed of the unknown. His heart pounded louder than ever, each beat a reminder of his humanity in the face of something that felt divine and terrifying all at once. In that suspended breath of time, he saw it, a flicker of light darting between the rows of corn, quick and elusive, like a firefly caught in a darkened room. It pulsed with an intensity that was both inviting and alarming, drawing him in with its otherworldly glow. There was a rhythm to its movement, a dance that beckoned him closer, as if it were a living entity, aware of his presence, aware of his fear. He felt a magnetic pull toward that luminescence, a compulsion to understand what lay behind the veil of his perception. But as quickly as it appeared, the light vanished, swallowed by the shadows that cloaked the field. The air shifted again, a low hum resonating through the earth, vibrating through his feet and into his chest. It felt like a heartbeat, echoing the very pulse of the universe, reminding him that he was a part of something far greater than himself. The fear that had gripped him began to morph into a fierce curiosity, igniting a fire within him, a desire to uncover the mystery that lay hidden in the darkness. He took a step forward, heart racing, each footfall a declaration of his resolve. Whatever lay ahead, he was determined to confront it, to peel back the layers of this cosmic enigma woven into the very fabric of the field. The shadows around him shifted again, weaving through the corn like phantoms, and he couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching him, waiting for him to make his next move. In that moment, he understood that he was not merely an observer in this strange ballet of light and shadow. He was part of it. The very essence of the cosmos was intertwined with his existence, and the formation before him was more than just a pattern etched into the earth. It was a challenge, an invitation to explore the depths of the unknown. The air crackled with possibility, and he felt the weight of countless eyes upon him, both from the shadows and from beyond the stars. urging him to delve deeper, to discover the truth hidden within the heart of the field. As he stood on the precipice of revelation, he felt an undeniable connection to the land, the cosmos, and the mysteries that lay ahead. A surge of determination coursed through him, igniting a fire that would not easily be extinguished. Whatever awaited him in this cosmic tapestry, he was ready to embrace it, ready to confront the darkness and uncover the truths that lay hidden beneath the shadows of the cornfield. The vibrations pulsed through the ground with an intensity that resonated in his bones, a primordial energy that seemed to hum in synchrony with the universe's heartbeat. As he ventured deeper into the field, the air thickened, wrapping around him like a shroud, heavy with the scent of damp earth and something metallic, something otherworldly. Each breath he took was laced with anticipation, an electric charge that seemed to crackle at the edges of his consciousness, awakening instincts long dormant. He paused, feeling the weight of the silence. It was a silence that felt alive, as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting for him to break the stillness. The wind whispered through the cornstalks, a soft rustle that sounded almost like a voice, beckoning him forward. It was an invitation wrapped in uncertainty, a call to venture further into the unknown. And so he forged ahead, his heartbeat sinking with the low tremor beneath his feet. Suddenly, the ground trembled more violently, and he froze, eyes wide as he scanned the horizon. A series of lights flickered in the distance, not like the stars that twinkled overhead, but like luminous orbs, darting and swaying as if they were alive. There were no sounds accompanying them, no hum of machinery, no chirps of crickets, just an eerie, deafening stillness that settled like a thick fog. The lights danced, weaving through the air with an elegance that defied the laws of nature. Was this real? The thought sliced through his mind like a cold blade, severing the tether of rationality that had clung to him until now. He took a tentative step forward, the earth still vibrating, and felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere, as if the very fabric of reality was bending around him. The lights twinkled brightly before dimming to an almost imperceptible glow, and for a moment he thought he saw shapes forming in the darkness, shadows elongating and twisting into a semblance of figures. They were not human, not entirely. They moved with a fluidity that suggested intelligence, a sentience that was both inviting and terrifying. As his mind raced, the sounds of the night began to fade away, replaced by an intrusive pulsating tone that seemed to emanate from the lights themselves. It was a low frequency, resonating in the depths of his psyche, stirring something deep within. A forgotten memory, perhaps, or a primal instinct buried beneath layers of fear and doubt. The sound wrapped around him like a warm blanket, yet it was laced with an undeniable tension, a reminder that he was not alone in this expansive field that felt so isolated moments ago. His heart pounded in his chest as he continued to move, compelled by an unseen force. The cornstalks loomed tall on either side, their dark silhouettes creating a narrow corridor that funneled him towards the source of the lights. Each step felt like a leap into a void, a plunge into an abyss of uncertainty. But with each pulse of the mysterious sound, he felt the fear ebb away, replaced by an insatiable curiosity. What was happening here? What lay at the heart of this cosmic phenomenon? Then the lights converged, forming a geometric pattern in the air that was strikingly beautiful and undeniably alien. It was a series of intertwining shapes, triangles, circles, spirals, dancing in an intricate choreography that defied logic. The geometry was flawless, mesmerizing in its precision, and he felt drawn to it, as if the very essence of creation was unfolding before his eyes. The colors shifted, cascading from deep blues to vibrant greens, illuminating the field with an ethereal glow that seemed to pulse in time with the vibrations beneath his feet. In that moment, he understood. This was not merely a display of light. It was a manifestation of intelligence, a language of the cosmos spoken through geometry and sound. The fear that had once gripped him transformed into awe, expanding within him like a supernova, illuminating the darkest corners of his mind. He stood, transfixed, feeling as if he were on the precipice of a great revelation, a truth that had eluded humanity for eons. Yet as quickly as the formation appeared, it began to dissipate, the lights flickering and fading into the depths of the night. The low hum morphed into a dissonant crescendo, echoing through the field as if it were trying to communicate something profound, something urgent. The shadows that once seemed to loom around him now felt closer, almost tangible, pressing against him like a thick fog. He struggled to understand, to grasp the meaning behind the spectacle he had just witnessed. Then a sudden rush of wind swept through the field, and in its wake came a chilling silence that enveloped him. The lights had vanished, leaving nothing but the lingering warmth in the air and the ghostly echoes of the unearthly tones. His breath quickened as he turned to leave, a sense of urgency propelling him back towards the safety of the road. But as he stepped away from the heart of the field, he felt it, a presence behind him, not visible but palpable, as if something was watching, waiting. He resisted the urge to look back, the weight of the unseen bearing down upon him like a suffocating blanket. The pulse of the universe still reverberated in his chest, a reminder that he was part of something much larger than himself. But the overwhelming fear clawed at him, urging him to flee. What had he stumbled upon? What truth had he glimpsed, only to be shrouded in darkness once more? The questions swirled in his mind, a cacophony of doubt and wonder. As he reached the edge of the field, he cast one last glance over his shoulder, a shiver racing down his spine as the shadows danced in the moonlight, teasing him with the promise of secrets yet to be uncovered. And in that moment, he understood. This was just the beginning. The cosmos had woven its thread into his life, and there was no going back. There would be more to uncover, more mysteries waiting in the vast expanse of the universe. But one thing was certain. Whatever lay ahead, he was no longer just an observer. He was a participant in the unfolding tapestry of existence. The stillness of the night blanketed the field, yet the air was thick with an unnameable tension, a palpable energy that thrummed beneath the surface. Each breath Gan took was laden with the metallic tang of anticipation, mingling with the earthy scent of tilled soil, a potent reminder that he was standing on the threshold of something inexplicable. The faint remnants of warmth that lingered in the air were like the last vestiges of a fading dream, compelling him to linger just a moment longer, even as fear clawed at the edges of his mind. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, a subtle change that sent ripples through the very fabric of reality. In the distance, a low, resonant hum began to rise again, pulsating rhythmically, as if the earth itself was breathing in tandem with the cosmos. It was not merely a sound, it was a language, an ancient resonating dialogue that transcended words. The vibrations cascaded through his body, each pulse echoing against his ribcage, urging him to listen, to understand the silent communication encoded within the resonant beats. As he stood there, transfixed, the shadows around him began to shift and swirl in a manner that felt deliberate, almost sentient. They stretched and contracted, forming shapes that danced on the periphery of his vision, teasing him with flashes of geometry that defied comprehension. Triangles, circles, and spirals melded into one another, creating a kaleidoscope of shapes that seemed to pulse with the same rhythm as the hum. Gan felt as if he were standing at the center of a cosmic equation, a living puzzle that beckoned him to solve it, to grasp the hidden truths it harbored. The night air thickened, wrapping around him like an embrace, yet it was suffocating in its intensity. With every passing second, the silence grew heavier, punctuated only by the deepening tones emanating from the earth. It felt as if the very universe was holding its breath, waiting for an answer to some ancient question. The shadows twisted once more, and Gan could swear he saw outlines of figures lurking just beyond the edges of his vision, watching, waiting, as if they were the guardians of the secrets that lay just beneath the surface. He took a cautious step forward, compelled by an unseen force that urged him deeper into the field. The ground beneath his feet was cool, yet it vibrated with an energy that felt alive, sending ripples of awareness through his body. The fear that had once gripped him began to morph into something else. A curiosity, a yearning to understand the enigma that surrounded him. What were these geometric shapes? What message lay hidden within the patterns that were emerging from the darkness? As he ventured further, the hum crescendoed into a symphony of frequencies, each note intertwining with the others, creating a rich tapestry of sound that reverberated through the air. It was hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with an underlying tension that hinted at something far greater than himself. The shadows began to coalesce into distinct forms, flickering at the edges of his perception, casting a veil of uncertainty over his thoughts. And then, it happened. A brilliant flash of light erupted from the center of the field, momentarily blinding him. It was a luminous beacon that pierced through the darkness, illuminating the landscape with an ethereal glow. In that instant, the geometric shapes became clear, unfolding before him like a cosmic blueprint. A massive agroglypho, intricately woven with spirals and fractals, seemed to rise from the earth itself, each line pulsating with life as if it were a living organism. Gan felt his heart race as he took in the sight before him. This was no ordinary occurrence. It was a manifestation of intelligence, a message from the cosmos, meticulously crafted and imbued with meaning. The air crackled with electricity, and the hum intensified, resonating within him as if calling out to his very soul. It was a moment of communion, a connection that transcended time and space, and he felt both terrified and exhilarated. The light shimmered, shifting in hue from a brilliant white to a deep, mesmerizing blue, casting shadows that danced with a mind of their own. The patterns seemed to communicate, whispering secrets that tickled at the edges of his consciousness. Gan could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, the enormity of what he was witnessing threatening to overwhelm him. He was not merely a spectator, he was part of this cosmic dialogue woven into the very fabric of the universe. As the light faded and the shadows returned, he stood breathless, grappling with the enormity of what he had just experienced. The echoes of the hum lingered in the air, wrapping around him like a comforting shroud, yet he could not shake the feeling that he was being watched, that unseen eyes were still scrutinizing his every move. The fear that had once gripped him now transformed into an insatiable thirst for knowledge, a desire to uncover the mysteries that lay hidden within the folds of reality. With a renewed sense of purpose, Gan took a deep breath, his heart steadying as he turned back toward the path leading out of the field. The agroglypho stood silently behind him, a whispered promise of what was yet to come. He was no longer just an observer. He was a seeker, a participant in a grand cosmic adventure that would challenge everything he thought he knew about existence. As he stepped away from the heart of the field, the weight of the unseen presence still clung to him, a reminder that the answers he sought were just beyond his grasp, waiting to be revealed. The night was far from over, and Gan understood that this was only the beginning of a journey that would take him deep into the heart of the mysteries that lay hidden in the cosmos. The shadows danced around him, teasing him with the promise of secrets yet to be uncovered, and he couldn't help but feel a thrill of anticipation as he ventured into the unknown. The night air hung heavy with an almost electric tension, a palpable silence enveloping Gan as he moved away from the heart of the field. The stars twinkled distantly, but they felt both comforting and eerily indifferent to the strange happenings below. Each step he took echoed softly against the cool earth, the ground itself still vibrating with the remnants of the cosmic phenomenon that had just unfolded. It was as if the world had shifted imperceptibly, a cosmic hinge swinging open to reveal secrets that had long been buried beneath layers of time and space. Gan's senses were heightened, every sound magnified in the stillness. He could hear the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, and the occasional rustling of small animals in the underbrush. Yet beneath these familiar sounds was an unsettling undertone, a low hum, almost like a heartbeat, that resonated in the pit of his stomach. It felt as if the very air was charged, alive with energy that crackled around him, drawing him back to the center of the field, urging him to uncover more. He paused, glancing back over his shoulder at the agroglypho, which loomed silently in the moonlight. Its geometric patterns seemed to pulsate with an inner light, shifting subtly, drawing his gaze deeper into their complexity. Each line and curve held a mystery, a promise of knowledge that danced just beyond his understanding. He could feel the weight of the shapes pressing upon his mind, begging him to decipher their meaning. Were they messages from a distant civilization, or echoes of an ancient intelligence that had once roamed the earth? The questions swirled in his head like a tempest, igniting a fire of curiosity that burned brightly within him. As he turned to leave, a sudden gust of wind swept through the field, catching him off guard. It whirled around him, stirring the tall stalks of corn into a frenzied dance. The sound was a cacophony of whispers, almost as if the plants were conversing with one another, sharing secrets that he could only begin to fathom. Gan felt a shiver run down his spine, a primal instinct telling him that he was not alone. It was a sensation that both terrified and exhilarated him, a reminder of the unseen presence that lingered in the shadows. Suddenly, a sharp, metallic sound sliced through the air, sending a jolt of adrenaline coursing through his veins. It was a noise he couldn't place, a low, resonant tone that seemed to vibrate through the very ground he stood upon. His heart raced as he scanned the field, searching for any sign of movement. The shadows cast by the moonlight seemed to flicker and stretch, forming shapes that danced at the periphery of his vision. Were they merely figments of his imagination, or was something watching him, lurking just out of sight? Gan took a step back, instinctively retreating towards the safety of the path. But his curiosity rooted him to the spot. The hum intensified, wrapping around him like a shroud, and in that moment he felt a profound connection to the cosmos, an understanding that he was part of a much larger tapestry, woven with threads of light and darkness. The atmosphere was thick with possibility, and he knew that what lay ahead would challenge everything he believed about reality. As he caught his breath, he noticed something peculiar. The ground beneath him seemed to shimmer, small particles of light flickering like fireflies in the darkness. It was mesmerizing, and he felt drawn to it, as if it were beckoning him to come closer. He knelt down, brushing his fingers against the earth, feeling the warmth radiating from the soil. It was a stark contrast to the cool night air, and he could sense that it was not just heat, but something else. An energy, a vibrational pulse that spoke to him on a level he could hardly comprehend. "Why are you here?" he whispered into the night, half expecting a response. The stillness that followed was almost deafening, a reminder of his solitude in this vast universe. Yet, deep down, he felt the answer lurking just beyond the veil of comprehension, waiting for him to unlock it. The shadows around him shifted again, drawing his attention back to the agroglypho. The way the patterns intertwined seemed to suggest a narrative, a story waiting to be told. He could almost hear the echoes of laughter and voices from a time long past, whispering the secrets of the cosmos into the night. The shapes were not random. They had a purpose, a message meant for those brave enough to seek its meaning. With renewed determination, Gan rose to his feet, the hum of the field resonating within him like a call to adventure. He understood that he had to return to the center, to delve deeper into the mystery that awaited him. Each step felt like a journey into the unknown, a path laden with both dread and fascination. The air was thick with anticipation, and he could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon him, urging him forward. As he approached the agroglypho again, the atmosphere shifted, thickening with an otherworldly pressure. He could feel the energy crackling around him, a sensation that tingled against his skin. The silence was almost deafening, an absence of sound that felt charged with potential. It was a moment suspended in time, where the line between reality and the extraordinary blurred, and he stood at the precipice of discovery. In that moment, he realized that the answers he sought were not merely to be found in the patterns etched into the ground, but in the very essence of what it meant to be alive, to seek, to question. The fear that had once gripped him transformed into an insatiable thirst for understanding, a desire to unravel the mysteries of existence itself. "Show me," he whispered to the cosmos, his voice barely audible above the hum. The shadows stirred, and Gan felt a rush of energy coursing through him, an invitation to embrace the unknown. The night was far from over, and he understood now that he was on the brink of something monumental. The journey into the depths of mystery had only just begun, and he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The dawn crept slowly across the horizon, casting a muted light over the sprawling fields. Gan stood at the edge of the agroglypho, an intricate design that had seemingly appeared overnight, its geometric precision both enchanting and unsettling. The patterns twisted and turned in ways that felt almost alive, beckoning him closer while simultaneously instilling a deep-rooted fear. Each curve, each angle, seemed to pulse with energy, as if the very earth beneath his feet whispered secrets of a long-forgotten language. As the sun's rays began to penetrate the fog, he inhaled deeply, tasting the damp earth and the metallic tang that lingered in the air. It was a scent that spoke of something otherworldly, a reminder that he was not alone in this vast expanse. The hairs on the back of his neck prickled, and he turned slowly, scanning the horizon as if expecting to see shadows dance just beyond his vision. The world felt different, charged with an electric anticipation that sent shivers down his spine. With each step closer to the center of the agroglypho, Gan could hear the faintest hum, a resonance that seemed to vibrate through the soil and into his bones. It was a sound that transcended the limits of human understanding, an echo of something ancient, something that had traversed time and space to reach him. The closer he got, the more pronounced the vibrations became, wrapping around him like a cocoon of energy, filling him with both dread and exhilaration. He knelt before the intricate patterns, tracing the lines with trembling fingers. The sensation was surreal. The plants beneath his touch felt warm, almost alive, as if they responded to his presence. The geometric shapes formed a tapestry of intricate designs, spirals, fractals, and symbols that hinted at a cosmic narrative waiting to be deciphered. Gan felt a strange pull, a connection to something greater than himself, and for a fleeting moment, he could almost see the threads of the universe weaving together a story just for him. The air thickened, a palpable tension wrapping around him like a shroud. He glanced over his shoulder, half expecting to see figures emerging from the mist, but the field remained empty, save for the distant rustle of the wind through the cornstalks. Yet, the sensation of being watched lingered, a reminder that he was not alone in this endeavor. He could feel the weight of unseen eyes, perhaps those of the cosmos itself, observing his every move. "Why do you draw me here?" Gan whispered, the words barely escaping his lips. The silence that answered him was deafening, yet inside it he felt a response, a promise of revelation. The shadows around him flickered, and he swore that he could see the outline of a figure just beyond the agroglypho, its form almost translucent, flickering like a candle flame in the wind. His heart raced, pounding against his ribcage, a primal instinct screaming at him to flee. But curiosity anchored him to the spot, an unyielding force that urged him to stay, to uncover the truth hidden within the enigmatic design. With trembling hands, he pulled out his phone, the screen casting a faint glow in the dim morning light. As he focused on the patterns, the device flickered erratically, the signal wavering as if protesting against the very presence of the agroglypho. He felt a strange dissonance, a clash between technology and the ancient energy that suffused the field. It was as if the agroglypho itself was alive, rejecting the modernity that encroached upon its sacred space. Suddenly, the hum escalated into a crescendo, resonating with an intensity that vibrated through the ground and into his chest. Gan staggered back, his heart pounding in rhythm with the strange sound. Then, just as abruptly as it had begun, the noise fell silent, leaving an unnerving stillness in its wake. It felt as though the universe held its breath, waiting for him to take the next step. He crouched down again, peering closely at the symbols etched into the earth. They felt familiar, yet utterly foreign, like fragments of a dream that danced just beyond his reach. His mind raced with possibilities, theories swirling like autumn leaves in the wind. Could this be a message from beyond? A warning? Or perhaps an invitation to unlock the secrets of the universe? Every fiber of his being yearned for understanding, for clarity in the chaos. And then he saw it. A subtle shift in the patterns, a flicker of light that illuminated the symbols, casting elongated shadows that seemed to stretch toward him. It was as if the agroglypho was alive, breathing, pulsating with a heartbeat that resonated with the cosmos. Gan's breath caught in his throat as he realized the symbols were not just shapes. They were a language, a means of communication that transcended earthly limitations. The moment was electric. He could feel the weight of destiny pressing upon him, urging him to decode these messages. But just as the realization dawned, a shadow flitted across his vision, a movement too quick to grasp. Gan whipped his head around, but there was nothing there, only the whispering wind and the rustling cornstalks. "Am I truly alone?" he asked aloud, his voice trembling against the silence. The field responded with an eerie calm, the air thickening with anticipation, as if the cosmos itself was leaning in to listen. He took a deep breath, steadying himself as he returned his focus to the agroglypho, determined to decipher its secrets. In this moment of quiet contemplation, he felt a surge of energy, a warmth that enveloped him like a comforting embrace. It was the realization that he was part of something greater, a tapestry woven from the threads of existence itself. The mysteries of the universe were not merely to be understood. They were to be experienced, to be lived through. Gan understood now that this journey was not just about the agroglypho, but about the exploration of humanity's place in the cosmos. With a newfound resolve, he stood tall. The fear that had once gripped him now transformed into an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Whatever lay ahead in this enigmatic field, he was ready to confront it. He would unlock the secrets hidden within the patterns, and perhaps, in doing so, he would find answers to questions that had haunted him for a lifetime. And as he prepared to delve deeper into the mystery, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the clouds, illuminating the agroglypho in a golden glow. The day had only just begun, and with it came the promise of revelations yet to unfold. Gan took a step forward, ready to embrace the unknown, the adventure that awaited him in the heart of the cosmic fields. A heavy silence enveloped the field as Gan stood before the agroglypho, a sprawling tapestry of geometric patterns etched into the earth, shimmering with an ethereal glow. Each line and curve seemed to pulse with a life of its own, whispering secrets that were just out of reach. The vibrations in the air grew tangible, an electric hum that resonated in his bones. He could almost hear a distant melody, a haunting echo of the cosmos calling him to decipher its cryptic language. The sun, tentative in its ascent, cast long shadows across the cornfield. The stalks swayed gently as if conducting a symphony of nature. Yet within that movement lay a profound stillness, a paradox that unsettled him. The wind picked up, swirling around him with a peculiar chill that sent shivers down his spine. It carried with it a metallic scent, sharp and unsettling, as if the very atmosphere was charged with a presence beyond his comprehension. As he crouched closer to the agroglypho, the symbols began to shift and morph in his peripheral vision, teasing him with their complexity. The formation radiated an otherworldly energy, and Gan felt an overwhelming urge to touch the patterns, to feel the vibrations of the earth beneath his fingertips. He extended a hand, his heart racing, but as his fingers grazed the edge of the formation, a sudden gust of wind whipped through the field, knocking him back. He stumbled, his breath quickening, and in that moment of vulnerability, he sensed it again, the shadow. It flitted just beyond the corner of his eye, a fleeting glimpse of something that felt both familiar and alien. He turned sharply, but the field remained unchanged, the rows of corn standing sentinel around him. The fear clawed at him, igniting a primal instinct to flee, yet something deeper rooted him to the spot. "Show yourself," he demanded, his voice trembling with a mix of defiance and desperation. The field responded with a profound silence, a heavy pause that wrapped around him like a cloak. The air thickened, and he felt the weight of unseen eyes upon him, watching, waiting. Gan's pulse quickened as he pressed his palm against the cool earth, attempting to ground himself amidst the chaos of his thoughts. Then, as if in response to his plea, the agroglypho began to shimmer more intensely. A low hum resonated from the ground, vibrating through his hand and into his core. The patterns twisted before him, revealing layers upon layers of meaning that danced just beyond his grasp. He felt a surge of warmth enveloping him again, this time igniting a fire of determination within his chest. This was no mere agricultural anomaly. It was a bridge, an invitation to connect with something far grander than himself. The whispers grew louder, swirling in a cacophony of sound that transcended language. He closed his eyes and let the vibrations engulf him, allowing the sensation to wash over him like a wave. In that moment, he was no longer just a man in a field. He was a vessel for the cosmos, a conduit for knowledge waiting to be unlocked. And then, in an instant, the noise fell silent. It was as if the universe held its breath, and Gan opened his eyes to find the agroglypho pulsing with a soft blue light. He gasped, his heart racing as the symbols began to rearrange themselves, forming a coherent pattern, an unmistakable message. The realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. These symbols were not just shapes, they were a dialogue, a conversation echoing across dimensions. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled with a force that sent him sprawling backward. A blinding flash of light erupted from the center of the agroglypho, illuminating the entire field in a surreal glow. Gan shielded his eyes, feeling a rush of heat wash over him, the air crackling with energy. He squinted against the brilliance and caught a glimpse of something, an outline, a figure that seemed to shimmer in and out of existence at the edge of his vision. "Please," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the roar of his own heartbeat. "I want to understand." The light dimmed, revealing the agroglypho once more. But now it was different. A new symbol had emerged at its center, intricately woven into the existing patterns. It pulsed slowly, almost rhythmically, as if it were alive, begging for recognition. Gan felt a pull towards this new symbol, a magnetic force that beckoned him to draw closer. With cautious steps, he approached, the world around him fading into insignificance. The symbol was mesmerizing, a spiraling vortex of energy that seemed to draw him in. He reached out, and this time he felt no resistance. As his fingers made contact, a surge of warmth coursed through him, flooding his senses with images and sensations, constellations dancing across the night sky, the heartbeat of the universe, the interconnectedness of all things. In that moment of communion, Gan understood. This was not merely a message. It was a revelation, a reminder that humanity was never truly alone. The cosmos was alive, entwined with their existence, and the symbols were a call to embrace that connection. But just as quickly as the warmth enveloped him, it receded, leaving behind a chilling emptiness. The agroglypho dimmed, and the shadows lengthened once again across the field. Gan staggered back, breathless, the weight of the experience settling heavily upon him. He was left with a single haunting thought. What if this was only the beginning? The air crackled with energy as he turned to leave. A flicker of movement caught his eye once more, a dark silhouette lingering just beyond the reach of light. Gan's heart raced as he realized that he was not alone. Whatever had been watching him now stepped closer, revealing a shape that seemed to shift and distort in the fading light. "What are you?" he breathed, stepping back, the fear rising within him once more. But as the figure approached, the tension in the air thickened, and Gan felt an overwhelming sense of inevitability wash over him. The journey was far from over. The mysteries of the cosmos were still unfolding around him. In that moment, he understood that the truth he sought was a double-edged sword, promising both enlightenment and danger. Whatever lay ahead, he was ready to confront it. And as he took a deep, steadying breath, he knew he had to embrace the unknown, for it was in the shadows that the most profound truths often resided. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie twilight over the field, Gan felt a surge of resolve. He would return to the Agriglypho, to the mysteries that awaited him. He would seek out the truth hidden within the patterns, for the cosmos had chosen him as its messenger. And as he walked away, the echo of the day's revelations lingered in the air, a promise of more to come, urging him to delve deeper into the enigma of the cosmic fields. If you want more stories like this, mysterious and real, stay with us and subscribe.